Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Keys to the Rock. My name is Ben Rigo. This is my good friend, the athletic Daniel Woods. Wonderful to see you. It has been a long time, and I feel like we said this previously before.
Yeah, we've had a lot of life going on recently. Both of us doing great things individually, our entire team doing great things individually. And now we said, hey, let's get back together and do that good old podcast thing.
You asked me out again. And,
Well,
it's been a while, and sometimes distance,
Well, you didn't get tired of getting stopped in the street and being like, hey, when's the podcast coming back?
Yeah, and a lot of people have been saying that. We truly love and appreciate all of that feedback. And, I think, as I said to you, as corny as it was yesterday, on a little sentimental voice note, but honestly, doing this has been amazing, just to kind of showcase different properties and all these sorts of things. But really, obviously, to reconnect and get back together, very inspirational, motivational friend.
We always
but
touch
even
base
just
really
to
well.
connect with so many other people that we actually maybe don't know that well, and to big up their own businesses, their own endeavors.
So no, fantastic stuff, and I couldn't agree more. And I'm happy we're getting it back rolling. We're going to keep this consistent now. I know we've said that before, but we're on it. And with that said, let's get right into the podcast. So I think this is where we usually start with, have you seen some of the previous episodes? We have Miss Tika Gilbert. We have an episode from her. We have Mr. Robert Richardson, Compound Property Group. He's awesome.
So is the company.
So is the company, apparently. And then we also have Kareem James, who's no longer with BCB, but a lot of what he said still is present and being regularized at BCB, Bermuda Commercial Bank, that is. So go check the previous episodes from this season. And while you're there, just scroll down YouTube. All of the information sort of remains the same in terms of the professional services and different stakeholders related to real estate. So it's one of those things where the information may get regularly updated, but for the most part, those key principles remain the same. And when you're talking about the law and the banks and et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, but anyway, Ben, we're at a lovely property here. Can you just tell me about it?
Yeah, so we are at Willoughby, guys, and this is one of the most iconic properties, I think, in Bermuda. Very recognizable, beautiful home that the owners have totally renovated in recent years. Taking a walk through this house, I mean, literally, I say the word perfect because I'm not, honestly, not even kidding you.
I've seen it.
Before listing it, every single window was changed, like all kitchens, but the kitchen, the bathrooms have been renovated. The pool was redone. There was a new garage built, driveway. I mean, I'm not even joking. Like everything
it is pristine.
Pristine. And it's honestly so refreshing to have not just properties, but sellers who have that same level of, and care with the attention to detail that you and I definitely both appreciate.
No, from a valuation standpoint, yes, 100%. Yeah. And then one of the key things that I picked up on with this not picked up on, but one of the key things that I love about this property is the location itself. So it's probably 10 minutes to the airport. So if you're traveling and family and whatnot, large lot of land here, and then it's just a straight shot.
1.84 acres. It's huge.
And then it's just a straight shot into town, just North Shore all the way down, and you get into town. But so you mentioned some sellers and awesome people and stuff like that. Give us a little market update while we have you here, and just go through the regular spiel. It's been a while since the last time we got a market update in this form from you.
Yeah, definitely. And the market overall definitely continues to be a good one if you're a homeowner. So whether you're a landlord or a seller, it's definitely still a good time overall. Definitely, though, we are going into a slower period. We're kind of in that now. As we get to Cup Match, I mean, certainly August, majority of people are not necessarily, especially when you're looking for family style properties, a lot of people travel, they're kind of gearing up for their kids to go back to school in September. So that's kind of the most busy time for thinking about those things and not necessarily buying real estate, similar to December when it's holiday season, people are traveling and
just switch off of that mode.
And, you're thinking about buying, the flavor of the month, a lovely gift as opposed to property. So with all that, we are in a more quiet time, but I say a more quiet time in one of the more busy times that we've had over recent years, and still inventory's low. For sale, there's I think 237 listings currently,
74,
69 rentals, and for example, on the rental side, at any one time it used to be about 200, and that's from a studio to a big house, everything across the board. So 69 is very low.
A lot of contributing factors to that. So I've been told, or not told, but so I've experienced myself in conversations.
Yeah, and there was a couple months ago we dipped down into the 40s. So to get back up to that level is encouraging if you're looking to rent, because it's simple economics of supply and demand with bidding wars and driving prices up and things.
It's very difficult for the average Bermudian, I'd say.
And it's a funny thing you say that, because 100%. It's also difficult no matter who's looking, because it's a funny thing, and I've been speaking with the minister about this a lot, but even if it's a lower medium price rental, right? And even if it is a work permit holder who's looking for that, they're competing with the non-Bermudians. So, with the Bermudians. So no matter who it is, Bermudian, expat, if they're here, if they have a work permit, they're working here. We want it where everyone can find housing, because that just takes one extra person off the demand pile, and it just makes it easier for everyone.
And so just to add in, because I went to one of the chamber presentations or whatever, where they was discussing sort of some of the things that's impacting the cost of living and whatnot, and they went into the rental space, because obviously that's a large portion of, usually your rent is approximately about 30% of what you should be making. That's changed significantly for some, more than others. But go ahead.
No, that's why you're renting that big house now, because your income, big leveling up, my boy.
Anywho, so
peep the truck.
So
peep the truck.
So moving on, no more siders for Ben. So moving on, basically what you're looking at, there's been the Landlord and Tenant Act, which hasn't been updated, changed, or anything of that fashion, has made it very difficult and tough for landlords to basically evict tenants. Right now, I'm in the process of doing that, and we're on, I think they owe approximately $15K right now, $16K, and the ball is just getting rolling, taken to court. We're not going to see anything from it. So that in itself makes landlords be much more picky with who they're renting out to, because they have to go through those issues. And because of that, the ones that can choose to go and put them onto, say, Airbnb or those type of websites, they choose to do that because they have much more control, and the stipulations on those apps or whatever are a little bit more.
It's almost like Uber, right? There's that mutual kind of...
You get graded, they grade you type thing, right? Like, you know what I mean? There's consistency, and then on the same side, it's like COVID. You have COVID that popped up, which made people think that they need more space, and then maybe people want, it also forced people to not live together. So people who were previously roommates or previously coupled up, split up, and now they're both taking one bedrooms, or they're both taking two bedrooms off the market. And then you have what is it? Came to Bermuda, the
EIRC.
Yeah, and the nomads.
Digital nomads. That was huge.
So all of that is just constantly. It's just all of these little things that have created sort of a pot.
Even during COVID, a lot of Bermudians, like if they were working abroad, a lot of people thought and saw Bermuda as maybe a more bubble safe space to be. And so a lot of people came home. And, there's always doom and gloom people every day that you'll meet. I know you and I definitely aren't those kind of people. We're always glass half full. And I see and know people, not just Bermudians coming home, but workers coming to the island. I mean, there's a lot of demand. And
it's a lot of activity.
You look around the world, my goodness, see what's going on around the world. Everywhere has, massive issues and problems for sure. And but Bermuda truly, obviously, is always another world, and that's why real estate is always in high demand.
And we need some developers start building up. That leads to another point that I wanted to make sure I got out there, but I don't think it's, I think we're running. I just see our guest arriving right now. Yeah. He's got some beers, so we should probably speed
Late
up.
Arrival.
Yeah, we're going to ask him a tough question that has nothing to do with what we're talking about. But before we get into that, because this is sort of our cup match episode, and Amir, the underwriter, is giving us the hurry up signal. Shout out Amir. We need to... You're Somerset. I'm St. George's.
Big time. And you live in Southampton, so anyway, but go on.
So what we're going to do, I'm just disregarding that. So what we're going to do right now is you're going to just give me some points of need-to-know information that someone considering Somerset should think about when renting or buying a property. Just some fun facts about Somerset that will come to mind for you. Or you can do St. George's, and I'll do Somerset. You do St. George's, actually.
What? Okay. Okay,
Go,
sure.
go.
So what I would say about St. George's, I mean, okay, cricket aside, but obviously, but no, seriously.
We just won 50 over the league.
Yeah,
But, anyway,
but
go ahead.
the town is amazing. I think that it's a huge kind of revitalization going there. When you're there, it's a lot more energy. There's things going on. Obviously, I think St. Regis and the guests there have something to do with it. Different Bermudian entrepreneurs getting involved. You know, you talk about Whitehorse with Denny, and different things happening. Xander Dill and
Moongate Brewery.
doing Moongate Brewery, which is opening soon.
I can add something too. I hear there's a partnership with a U.S.-based college and the biostation.
Yep.
So that will now bring some
Is that
more
University of
vibrance.
Louisville?
Arizona.
Arizona, yeah.
I wasn't going to say it. I
Yeah,
wasn't sure
yeah.
how confirmed it was. But
No,
yeah.
that's been confirmed for a while.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. But anyway, on to the Somerset. Somerset, I'm going to go with more of doom and gloom. As I've just recently been doing some works on Somerset, I looked at some of the rentals, and basically, Somerset can hit a ceiling, right? It's one of those things where it's no matter how big and grandiose you can do a property in Somerset, I feel like it's only going to rent. The rental value can only go so high. And correct me if I'm wrong. I mean,
That's
you might
true.
say, and that's probably the same. That's not probably. That's the same for the sales. Outside of maybe Rec Road, I'll say, you're going to be looking at sort of, be wary of how much money and how much you put into a property in
Yeah.
Somerset, unless that's going to be your lifelong family home and whatnot. Because at a certain point, you're just building it up, and
Yeah.
the value is just going to it's going to hit a ceiling.
I was talking to someone, you would know him well, a friend of ours, and he's looking to buy a property, his first property, but he would want to rent it out for a few years first. And so he was looking at this property in Somerset, and it's amazing. But he was like, okay, so he's not going for the property in the end, but nonetheless, if he ultimately wants to move into it one day, which that was his intention, then it definitely makes sense. But if
Yeah.
you're looking for investment properties,
Yes, then
I would, on either side of the island,
it's tough.
it's more tough because investment properties, for the most part, the tenants, for the most part, might be foreign, work permit holder workers. For the most part, honestly, but even if they're Bermudian or anything, people, location is so key always, and that location
The
aspect
convenience.
means convenience to town.
Plays
That's
a
what
bigger
people
part,
care about. That's what people care about, and so with that being said, I find it hilarious and also frustrating that people who, maybe they come from New York and they're used to an hour and a half commute or whatever it might be. They're told by their departments and their friends and colleagues like, don't want to be west of Paget Lights. Just that kind of rhetoric, which is really unfortunate.
Yeah, it's
So,
frustrating. I mean, that traffic.
but
Not a
you
fan.
do, if you are looking, of course,
Yeah,
there's
okay,
low
okay.
inventory, everything rents. And certainly if you're looking to buy for your family, you get more bang for your buck either side of the island that you
Yeah.
go. So that's important.
No, for sure. And St. George is going to win the cup this year. So moving on, as our guest is
We'll
looking
see.
impatient, we're going to get him up over here. Our guest for this episode is Mr. Mathew Gerardo.
Big Spurs fan, my boy.
Yes. A big Spurs fan. I don't know how that's working out for you guys.
Big
but,
and Dombele fan as well, unfortunately.
But he's the VP of Sales at Joshua Bates Trading Company. Did I say that correctly? I think so. And yeah, we're going to bring him in. So I think this is where we do our
We
claps.
do a little clap
Yeah,
and
yeah.
welcome Matthew on.
Yeah. Welcome back, everyone, to Keys to Rock, episode 3 or 4, depending on how you count,
Of season 2.
of season 2. Yeah, we have an entire season 1. If you haven't checked it out, go check it out. And a huge shout out to our sponsors. Without them, this would not be possible. We have One Communications, we have Greenlight Energy, we have Hamilton Legal, we have Compound Property Group. We'll get into that. And we also have the great Rigo Salvador's International Realty Limited.
Yeah.
Did I get it right? Did I
Basically.
get it right? It's-
Limited isn't there, but anyway,
Oh,
yes.
it's a mouthful.
Happy
anyway.
to be here. But even more happy to be here is someone else who you're going to introduce now.
Oh, Mathew Gerardo from Bates Limited. Is it the Limited?
It is Joshua Bates Trading Limited, yes.
Okay.
As they say, call us what you want, just call us. Yeah. That's
But that's this guy. That's the first good joke of the day.
well, I am a dad.
The second good joke was your shoe choice.
It's not a joke. Hey, look, Air Forces, they do not go out of style. So these are about 5 days old, newly off the market because I bought them. And I'm wearing low socks But yeah, anyway, thank you. I've
So
learned.
back to Mathew Gerardo.
Got me hiding my shoes.
Yeah,
and my
no,
shit.
you're all good. You're all good. We can't curse on this.
Sorry, right,
yeah,
right,
man.
right.
Jeez,
Sorry.
jeez,
Family
Louise.
show.
Family show. So, anywho, Mathew, can you kindly just introduce yourself, tell us what you do, what Joshua Bates does, and just give us a little bit of info about yourself.
I appreciate the introduction. But yeah, Mathew Gerardo. I am the vice president of Joshua Bates Trading. Been there for about 10 years now, 10 years in October.
Congrats when it comes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So yeah, primarily known for appliance sales in Bermuda. That's sort of what everyone knows us for, but we do literally everything and anything except for countertops and cabinets. So furniture, flooring, lighting, tiles, you name it, 9 times out of 10, we will definitely do it. We bought in go-karts, golf carts, all sorts of John Deere tractors.
Really?
So literally your options are essentially endless, of course, unless you're looking for countertops and cabinets.
So, from a customer point of view, what is sort of the process, and what do they sort of do? If they're looking to renovate or they're looking to bring in things, how do they begin?
So it depends obviously on what we're talking about. So appliance wise, we have a great deal of stuff that's in stock. So if it's something that you're looking for and that fits with sort of what you're trying to do, then you can buy from in stock. Of course, you're not limited to the appliances that we do carry. We are the authorized dealer for GE, so we do primarily specialize in GE appliances. But if people want to bring in different brands, obviously there's companies like Bosch, Thermador, KitchenAid, etc. We will literally work with pretty much most companies that exist in terms of the appliance world. Furniture-wise, flooring-wise, anything else besides that, essentially just send us what you're looking to get. Send us the web links. If that particular item comes in numerous sizes, numerous colors, numerous different configurations, just let us know your specifics. We'll send you a very detail-oriented breakdown of your quotation.
Yeah.
So you see the price of whatever it is in the U.S., you see the oceans freight, the customs, the duty, individually broken down, so you see exactly what you're paying and what it's going towards. There's no hidden fees. There's no, oh, by the way, you owe this now that it's here. So you see exactly what you're paying. So it gives people the opportunity to sort of shop abroad while still shopping locally. So it's a
sort
cool
of a
selling
shipping
point.
service as well, essentially.
In a sense, yeah. So obviously we bring everything in through our own containers, but you are buying whatever it is you are purchasing through Joshua Bates Trading, as opposed to a regular shipping company where you buy it, you send all of your details to the freight forwarder, and they coordinate it from there.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, like, some of the perks that I always remember with using sort of local agencies, I'll say, is you guys have more of a market knowledge on what works well in Bermuda. That's something that people often find, right? Like, you purchase these stools and then you find out that they're mildew or something, something starts going off because of the humidity, the heat, or,
Air Force Ones, things like that.
But no, you're right. You're right.
So what brands or what do you really suggest? And is that that's probably got to be a key selling point, I assume. Right?
Are we talking furniture-wise, or?
If we're talking a range. It could be the fridges. Everything adapts different to Bermuda, right? So
No, exactly.
You see something online and you say, "Oh, I want this," but
No, completely. It's like going on furniture, for instance. Like people will send me things that they find on Wayfair or Pottery Barn, and I will particularly look at the material. So if it tells me it's manufactured wood or pressed wood, I know realistically it's probably not going to hold up very well in Bermuda, give or take maybe 2 to 3 years. So the most you can do is just be transparent with whoever the consumer is. And if that's still what they want to do, then by all means, more than welcome to bring it in for you. But we will sort of guide you in the right direction. Say, okay, this is manufactured wood. Here's a like model from this particular brand. And that is solid wood. That's going to hold up a lot better in Bermuda.
I find that is so important in terms of outdoor furniture in Bermuda. And it's unfortunate, but just with our climate and everything like that, humidity, salt, all of that. But that you really, unfortunately, it's very expensive to buy quality, but you need that for outdoor.
So that brings me to another question too, right? It's a twofold question, and Ben's going to be mad because I'm stealing questions. Anywho, shelf life for say outdoor furniture, or shelf life for some of these appliances like the washers, the dryers, the GE stuff. And then the second part of the question, I guess, is where do you guys play a part in terms of the maintenance, or is it just simply sort of warranty, or?
Well, in terms of outdoor furniture, there's not too much we can do in terms of maintenance. I do try to steer people towards a particular brand called Seaside Casual, made from a material called polywood or EnviroWood, depending on whatever manufacturer's website you're looking at. But if you've ever been to Bates, you'll notice our parking lot area is almost like a a desert in a sense. It's just sand. It's not it's not the nicest area. We've had a particular Seaside Casual outdoor set for about 7 years now. It has held up beautifully.
It's just been sitting out there?
Challenge you. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, okay.
I would challenge you to find a lick of rust or even a blemish on it. It's extremely good quality. Now, the price point does reflect that, and that's sort of where you have to be realistic with the consumer. They're looking at a complete outdoor set from Wayfair, for instance, and it's $1,200. That same like set from Seaside Casual is about $3,500.
Yeah.
Now,
That
are
was
you going
my
to buy that
biggest wake-up.
particular set every 3 years, or do you want to just get this set that's going to last you 20?
Yeah, that's been a big wake up call for me. With I've been a cheapskate. I'll be the first person to admit it. Looking at some
Financially responsible.
Yeah.
but looking at some of the outdoor furniture, and I like walk up and I say, "Is this for the entire set or just the chair?" Like, you know,
Exactly. You don't know.
Because sometimes it's pretty crazy. But but like you said, like it's value for money, right? Bang for buck. And if you're gonna have this furniture, and we got some nice furniture right here that we're looking at, you know, if this furniture is going to basically be a staple for, I don't know, 10 to 15 years, then you're going to get your value for money.
Yeah,
So
it's an investment, right? So if you want a cheap investment with little return in terms of lifetime, then you will get what you pay for.
it's like a good pair of jeans.
Exactly.
Like a good pair of jeans.
Yeah.
Or Air Force One.
Or shoes.
Air
But
Force
so
Ones.
further to that, and I have to wear these every episode now. Clearly,
Obviously.
we'll see the lifespan of them.
You'll have to. Okay.
Anyway, so but further to that, in terms of sort of longevity and the lifespan of things, when we're talking, I guess primarily what a lot of people associate you guys with is our appliances. Like, you know, is a Wolf oven actually that much better and will last a lot longer than I don't know, GE or something like that? Like, what really is the best bang for your buck in your opinion?
It depends on what you're looking for and what's important to you at the time. So, for instance, like we'll use Wolf as an example.
Yeah.
We're no longer the authorized dealer for Wolf. So we have
Damn
alternative
Wolves.
models. Yeah,
Damn
we have
Wolves.
alternative models. Monogram, Heston do similar concepts in terms of high-end 36-inch, 42-inch, 48-inch in terms of stoves and refrigeration. And primary differences that like catch people's eye is normally the grade of stainless steel. So you can tell a good grade of stainless steel. If you try to stick a magnet to it and it sticks, it's not good. It has more metal in it than stainless steel. So it's got more metal alloy. And
We all learned something
Get your
today.
magnets.
We all learned something
Just walk
today.
around Bates.
no, seriously.
Yeah, that's how I'm going to negotiate. Yeah.
No, seriously though, and you'll see stainless steel tarnish pretty quickly, especially in Bermuda. Especially if you live by the water, you keep your windows open. You're gonna
That
get
was going to be my next
constant salt
question.
spray.
Yeah.
Now, of course, if a magnet does stick to your fridge, for instance, it doesn't mean it's terrible. It doesn't mean it's the end of the world. It's just something that you have to put a little bit of upkeep into.
Just means that you want to hang your kids' photos on the fridge.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Yeah, so you're going
Right,
to want
Dan?
to wipe it down. You're going to want to give it a clean every now and then. And if you don't, then yeah, you're going to see rust marks in about a year to 2 years. So
Okay.
if you neglect it, like anything, it will start to fall apart.
Yeah.
And so, and I'm switching gears a bit, but mainly because you mentioned it. We talked about energy, and I could not help but obviously read one of the big point pieces in the paper today was about the rate increase for Belco.
Oh my goodness.
So
Yeah.
it said, what is it, 8 for the first year, and then it's going to go up to basically be 14 within the next 12 months. So with that said, how big a part is that now playing into sort of you guys selecting of models and, you know, like energy efficiency? Walk us through sort of you guys' approach to that, and is that an area where, you know, that should be a key selling point, I would assume or imagine?
It should be. And again, it comes down to the price point. So I try to get a lot of Energy Star models in our showroom. I want that to be sort of an inventory keystone in a sense where I try to get away from the non-Energy Star models.
Sorry, is that like a
Yeah.
United States rated Energy
Yeah,
Star?
so Energy Star is like a universal standard in terms of energy consumption.
I knew
per-
that. I knew
yeah,
that.
yeah.
I knew that.
And
Exactly.
it's-
So, and it's weird
And it's
because
the
like,
universe as
something
well.
that was Energy Star
Not just
maybe
Earth.
5 years ago may not be considered Energy Star today. That standard is constantly getting better. So I do try to keep Energy Star, but of course, the startup price is more expensive for Energy Star units.
Yep.
For example, in our showroom, I have a 30-inch top freezer fridge in Energy Star, and I have the exact same unit without Energy Star, and there's a $300 price difference. And people will literally
Gravitate.
Yes, thank you. Gravitate towards the non-Energy Star because obviously the price point. So
do you have, it's almost like solar panels, and so you can kind of compare the difference with them, but do you have like, how long would it take if you have the Energy Star version to make up that difference, to actually earn more than $300 back on your money? You know what I mean?
It depends on what it is. And I'm sorry, I'm struggling on how to move this thing upward.
Question wasn't very
And we're live.
Ben's question wasn't very important anyway.
While we're here, guys, remember to look at the camera.
Yeah. Yep. Thank you.
This never happens with any of our other guests.
Yeah.
We're gonna shoot right through that. So
Should I go back? What was that?
You asked the question, I guess, didn't you?
Yeah,
you did.
But then Daniel got up. Does it matter?
That's fine, because I'll cut from your question. You can just answer.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I was saying, basically, is there a different? If there is a $300 difference for the one that is Energy Star, is there, like, similar with solar panels, like how long it would take to pay it back, like based on your electricity bill?
where can you see
I don't know.
what does the return for
payoff.
investment equate to?
When do you start to see
Yeah,
it?
How is that,
if
like,
you can
you
even
quantify
guess
it?
that.
Is it
And if you
it's
don't know,
hard,
just
it is
bullshit-
hard to
bullshit the
quantify,
answer.
and it of course depends on what sort of appliance we're talking about, and if it's a 220 volt or is it a 120 volt. So
you know what that is, right?
yeah.
I know volts.
So, for
Voltage.
example, actually, I had a customer call me the other day, and she had a dryer that was about 30 years old, and I mean that's an accomplishment in itself.
Yeah.
Now, electric dryer is 220
Sounds
volt.
like a fire.
Yeah, and you can imagine a dryer from 1990 that was 220 volt is nowhere near as efficient as a dryer from 2024.
Mm-hmm.
So she called me literally to tell me that her Belco bill dropped down by about $50 a month just by
Wow.
changing her dryer. So, and that's just one
Example.
One
Small
example,
sample
exactly.
size,
So
yeah.
when you
Yeah.
get into refrigeration or washers, Energy Star isn't just electricity, it's also water consumption. It's a lot of different things. So it is hard to quantify, especially if you're only changing one item out at a time. It can be difficult.
So, and I'm just listening to you as you talk, and we have questions, but we don't really go by them. But as you're talking, you just mentioned the dryer. So, a big thing that I'm always, and I think my mom brought it up, something, but ventilation. So, how does that? Because now they're creating dryers basically without a ventilation
Yeah.
system, right? So, where would you stand, or what would your sort of position be, I guess, on the one
Vented versus non-vented.
yeah, and then even if it is vented, how does the maintenance or whatever is required? And this is, a personal question, but I'm hoping that there's people on the other side of the screen that
We all
need to
dry our
also-
clothes,
we all-
Daniel. So, yeah, it counts.
You're gonna too easy. Go ahead.
To answer that, if you ever have the opportunity to vent and it's not an extreme venting run,
Yeah, where
in
it's
a
like-
sense, then I always tell people get a vented dryer. The startup cost in general is significantly cheaper than what's called a condensing dryer
Yeah.
or a ventless dryer. And when you go with a ventless dryer, you're sort of redefining your idea of dry, as weird as that sounds. And you may have to run it maybe once or twice to get it to that dry that you're used to, because it's not actually. How do I say this? So when you're drying clothes, it does rely on air ventilation. It's taking that moist, damp air out and it's pushing it outside the house. Now, a condensing dryer will actually compress that heat into a liquid form, and it will drain down into the same drain as your washing machine would drain into, for instance.
Okay.
Now, airflow will obviously be better for a drying cycle, whereas that technology that's involved with compressing that heat, pushing it out into a liquid form, does take a little bit more time. It does take a little bit more energy as well.
Yep.
So those are things to think about. Now, condos like the Dundonald buildings, for instance, where you don't have the opportunity to vent it, always go with the condensing dryer. Don't go with those vent kit that you can find at like an SAL or a Gorms.
Yeah.
Because not only are you basically pushing all
they
that,
might be future. They might be future sponsors. You gotta dial
I'm
down
not-
on all of that, mate.
I'm not bad mouthing them, but a lot of people will go with a vented dryer, and there's like this vent kit that just goes into this bucket that has water in it.
Yeah.
So you're basically pushing
It's
all
not
that
sustainable
moist
in a
heat
sense,
air
right?
into your home. So, and a lot of times as well, there's a lot of microfibers. There's a lot of different chemicals that are coming off your clothes, especially if you're using dryer sheets. So if you have that going into that bucket that's actually exposed in your home, you're putting a lot of different chemicals into the air.
Jeez.
So that's something you don't want to do,
And a
especially
lot
if you
of
have
people,
children,
and
you
a
have
lot of
pets.
people keep dryers near their kitchen.
And that's fine if it's vented
or
externally.
in the kitchen.
Yeah.
But if you have it into this sort of bucket system that a lot of people have in Bermuda, I've seen it everywhere. You are just
It's that popular.
pouring moisture into your house and a lot of different chemicals coming off your detergents, your fabric softeners, your
You guys heard it here
dryer
first.
sheets.
Hey.
You
Yeah.
heard it here first from Matt Gerardo of Bates. All right.
So-
don't shop at. No, I'm just-
I'm not saying that shop at Gorham's RCL.
But from what it sounds like, it's almost like when you buy an iPhone or whether you buy an appliance, they want it to break. They want it to have issues because they want you to buy another one. I'm joking, but I'm joking. But when I'm joking. But of course, everything needs maintenance, right?
Yeah.
And
what does preventive maintenance look like for some of these appliances?
yeah,
and stuff
and
like
are
that?
there certain brands where you have more people who are here to service things for parts and things than others?
Yeah, because that's always a tricky one, right? Like it's similar to a car or something like that, right? Like, you buy this model car, who's going to be the company.
Yep.
We're on the island.
No, exactly. So yeah, I mean, buying an appliance where there's an actual dealer or servicer that's going to work on that appliance, because a lot of people will bring in brands like Samsung, for instance, and they advertise things wonderfully, but unfortunately their appliance hasn't been as successful as they may have thought it would have been. Mm-hmm. And trying to find a technician in Bermuda that would work on that particular brand, for instance, can be a bit of a struggle. So it's one of the few brands we've actually decided not to bring in just because they are difficult to service.
One of my mates has one of those, and
He's a
it's
bad
very
mouther,
cool with
right?
the screen.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm not bad mouthing Samsung.
Sounds like
Hey.
bad mouth. Samsung.
Competition's competition. So,
I'll bring in a Samsung fridge for you and let me know how it's going in 3 years.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Roll with us or get rolled over.
But yeah, no, typically you want to go with a brand that we are the authorized dealer for. So GE, Speed Queen, Hotpoint, Tire. I mean, I can go on for a little bit, but we have technical support. We have parts on demand. We have technical reps on call that we can reach out to in the event that it's something that's sort of beyond us or something we haven't seen before.
Yeah, this other layer
doing that
of
is
protection,
it's important,
right?
exactly.
Yeah.
So
and it's not. I mean, like you said, like it's not a cheap. You're not buying. It's an expensive purchase, right? Like
Yeah, exactly.
Like if you're spending 4 to 5 to upwards of close to 10 grand, depending on what you're getting.
No, exactly.
You want to make sure that you're protected. So with all of that said, our good intern friend Trey here, his hands are getting tired from holding up the questions. I think we've went through just about all of them. Is gas better than electric?
depends what you're looking for. It's hard.
We need a. All right, we're gonna make that a poll of some sort.
Yeah.
Gas,
Sure,
electric,
sure.
gas, because you couldn't even give us a straight answer.
Again, it depends on what you're looking
As
for.
long as they work.
Yeah.
As long as they work.
I tried to throw
and
him on
do
the
their
spot.
So
job.
most
Yes.
professional chefs or people that fancy themselves to be a chef would prefer to cook with a gas top. You get better
Better in
temperature
hurricanes.
control. Yes, better during hurricanes. You can actually light the top. Now, people that actually have a gas oven, it doesn't matter if you have power or not. You cannot use. Well, sorry, it does matter if you have power or not. But if you don't have power, you cannot use the actual oven part. Everything has an electronic ignition, so without electricity, you're not going to be able to actually use your oven. You can use the burners on top, which is great.
I'm a big barbecue inside the house guy.
Yeah, they call me Barbecue Benny.
Yep.
Outside the house, though.
I bring it inside the house.
Okay,
Yeah,
just
yeah,
give some warmth.
yeah. But on that note, any more questions for yourself?
No more questions, no. But no, thank you, Mathew Gerardo from Bates, big Spurs fan, love my boy. Thank you for joining us. Any final words?
No, come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.
And because you basically took out 2 of our potential sponsors, we look forward to your email.
Okay.
We're
And
going to
your
put his email
sponsorship.
right here.
Yeah.
And this is where we're going to email.
And he's
the
going to
sponsorship
live
proposal.
sign sponsorship right now. Anyway, thank you
All
very
right,
much.
cheers.
Thank you for having
Mathew
me.
Gerardo, ladies and gentlemen.
Welcome back, guys. Thank you again so very much to Mathew Gerardo from Bates. He provided some really important and insightful information because everyone has a fridge for the most part, and we all need one. We all need our clothes dry. We all need our clothes washed. Right, Dan?
Right, absolutely correct. That was put me on the spot there. But no, yeah, it was awesome to speak with Gerardo. Very knowledgeable. You can see that he can go into much more detail. And, at some point I assume that we will probably have him back on in the near future, especially once he becomes a sponsor.
Exactly. I mean, he's been there for almost 10 years. So,
Yeah. Speaking of sponsors, I want to give a huge shout out to our sponsors. So that's OneCom, that's Greenlight Energy, that is Hamilton Legal, and that is Rigo Sotheby's and Compound Bermuda. So before we get into that, Rigo Sotheby's International Realty, not limited, International Realty, just celebrated 75 years, which is a huge, huge accomplishment for just generally 75 years of business. Means that you guys have skin in the game. You guys are day in, day out, making things happen, and that would make you guys Bermuda's longest and most established real estate company in
real estate business, still in business. And I mean, obviously, all joking aside, but no, it's a seriously emotional thing for our family and our business, and our goal of helping everybody hopefully achieve what is such a milestone thing in so many people's lives of home ownership. And yeah, I mean, it's one of the most touching things that I go through in my day-to-day is sometimes meeting people who knew my grandfather, and like how much of a gentleman and a hardworking guy who gave so many people so many opportunities. And so, just trying to carry on that legacy. Sometimes third generation is always a challenging one. And
yeah, they say you guys are the one that screw up.
They do say that, but tough love, hard work ethic, and just trying to innovate. And
no, I love it. You're doing fantastic.
So keep 25 more years and 100 years. Mic drop, retire.
I might get invited to the 100-year party. Didn't make the cut for the 75th because we stopped the podcast. Anyway, moving on.
But further to that, I mean, you've been doing some incredible things. It's kind of nice in a way that we've had a little bit of a delay in getting back to the seats, to the stools.
Yes, to the stools.
Two stools.
Yeah.
Talk about Compound. So
over the last probably I'll say about 18 months, we've been very, very busy, myself and Robert Richardson, who was a previous partner, and we've officially launched it and put it out into the public space. The way I put it is, it's no putting it back in the cage now. We've handed in notice, we've done XYZ, and we've put it out into Bermuda. It's been very, very well received. A lot of people didn't know exactly what we did. Now they are a little bit more familiar.
Like and follow. Maybe put a little link. We haven't done that yet today.
Yeah. And
put it there, please.
They've been asking questions, and business has been building fantastic.
So what do you do?
So I do project management and valuation and appraisals. Robert does quantity surveying and construction management. So he's more construction, I'm more real estate. We team together, we work really well. And what we've been working on more recently is a lot of redevelopment proposals, redevelopment projects, and then we've been managing some projects. So we're very excited to have launched, and appreciate all the support we've gotten from you and Amir and the entire team thus
Your
far.
social media manager is absolutely killing it, so shout out to him as well. He's live on set too.
He's all right. We're not going to gas him up too much. But no, before that said, I know this is probably one of our longer episodes, but it's just so much to catch up on since we've had our hiatus. And so with that, I think we will move to the small business shout out. And on the flip side, we're not going to actually do business. I'm going to do a charitable organization that was brought to our attention actually by our great friend Mathew Gerardo, who has just joined us on the podcast, and it is called Sleep in Heavenly Peace. And basically what they do, and they did it outside of Bates themselves, outside of the storeroom themselves, they build physical beds, and the idea is basically on the premise that no child or person should be sleeping without a bed. So they build and they fix up these bunk beds and single beds, and they build them and give them to people in need. And it's an awesome initiative, and I'm glad to have found out about this today. I've seen it before, but I didn't know exactly what it entailed, and so I've gotten a little bit more information before. And so what we will do is actually Amir, our great underwriter, also videographer, will put something right here where we can, you can click the link and you can get involved in one fashion or another. But I think that's we do some key takeaways, but I think we're going to we'll just skip past that. It's been a great episode.
Takeaway is that we are back, and certainly that looking forward to next episodes, different locations, different guests, and continuing the momentum.
Yeah. So with all of that said, thanks for joining us on Keys to the Rock, episode 3 or 4, depending how we...
Season 2.
Yeah. Like, follow, share, tell your friends, and go back and watch some previous episodes. Dan Woods, Ben Rigos.
Good night.
Cheers, guys. And we're done.
Cool.
All right. Good.
Good job, guys.
Good job. All right. Dog's here.
All right, see ya.